Thank you. I'll begin that update, and then as necessary, Mary Franklin is here as well if we want to go into some of the details, because I know there were some questions around the work underway with the Department of Workforce Services and what we're doing around kind of work referrals more specifically. Just to give kind of a little bit of an update on the process overall. As we reported to this task force in previous meetings, we are in the final stages of discussions with CMS, the Federal Medicaid Agency, regarding the waiver for Arkansas Works. We are very close to getting approval. We're down to working on some of the language around the request. Just as an example, one of the requests that was in the package was to be able to waive non-emergency transportation for individuals participating in the employer-sponsored insurance program. We do think that we will be able to achieve that waiver. However, CMS has asked us to put in some language around what they're calling a hardship exemption. Basically, if an individual, for example, particularly for Arkansas, given the rurality of the state, lives in an area of the state does not have access to public transportation, and the person is not able to access a vehicle or some other ride to get to a doctor's offices, then we have a process in place where they could then apply for and potentially receive a hardship exemption to get those services, but that in general, there would be a waiver of non-emergency transportation for that population. So just kind of an example of some of the language we're working through at the moment on the waiver side. Beyond that, we have teams throughout the department that are meeting on a regular basis with folks internally and externally to then develop out the transition plan as we move from the private option to Arkansas Works, including working with the carriers who are offering the qualified health plans around issues such as premiums, around cost sharing, around some of the new wellness components of Arkansas Works. And then, as I mentioned, we are also working very closely with the Department of Workforce Services to then actually implement the referrals, which is part of the requirement for the program. And just a note on that, the Act itself requires that we give referrals only for those with incomes of 50% of the federal poverty level or less. We actually, because this is such an important component to us and to the program, we're actually planning to initiate referrals for everyone enrolled within Arkansas Works. And so we've been meeting very closely with the Department of Workforce Services, developing out the process for individuals both at the time of application as well as at renewal to be able to get information about the referral to the Department of Workforce Services, including sharing information that the Department of Workforce Services has developed around what kinds of services and programs are available and how folks can go about getting that information. So I'll pause there, but certainly we're happy to answer questions folks may have.
So when would you think, if they approve the waiver, that the referrals would begin?
Mary Franklin, Department of Human Services, Division of County Operations. We will start the referral process in January, and every new approval for Arkansas Works and everyone who is renewed during that month. And then the consecutive months thereafter will receive that referral.
Will there be any tracking process to see what happened with those referrals, whether they contacted the employer?
Yes, we are also working on that process with the Department of Workforce Services to establish the information we want to capture so that we can track progress of the referral process. Yes, sir.
Representative Hammer?
Thank you, Chair. In that matter right there, contacting employers, did you do anything, or was there any latitude to do anything as far as what that requirement was? Because I know sometimes people just call and say, are you hiring, or are those two subject matters related, or what? Can you explain that a little bit?
Our referral will refer people to the services that are provided at the Department of Workforce Service, which can include job search, readiness programs, resume writing, those types of programs that Workforce Services offers everyone. So we're just making sure that our Arkansas Works population is aware that they can receive those services.
Okay, that just refers them to DWS, but that doesn't deal with when the person actually goes out and tries to find employment and has the face-to-face contact with the potential employer. Your scope doesn't allow you to step over into that area, does it?
No, that's DWS.
Okay.
And it is a good partnership, and Daryl Bissett and I are working, have our teams working very closely together, and one of the things we talked about this week is we hope within the next month to be able to put together a good overview for you as to how we're going to implement this component together, as well as how we're going to work in our SNAP ENT as a part of this, so that we begin to pull together all the places where we're doing employment training and work referrals, and show you kind of a merged operation between our two separate agencies. And then a set of tracking reports as to how we're going to jointly track whether or not the folks that we move through this system actually end up with a job, and really how these programs are working together.
Okay, when would you, is that gonna come, you're gonna bring that before this committee, or when would you expect that?
If the chairs will invite us, yes, we would love to be able to come and bring that and show you what we're planning to do, DWS and DHS together, because it is a joint effort.
Is that the intent of the chairs? Yeah, they put you on the spot. Thank you.
Okay, that's all we have on the list, and I think that's all you all have on your